is chatted.
Okay. All right, it looks like we're good to go, so we're going to begin. So just want to welcome everyone and thank our participants, panelists here for taking the time to address questions and report on business recovery during this time. I know we've got some top of mind questions, especially with the new order that came out. We did not get questions in advance, but we did try to push for that. So we will be taking questions after your reporting. Uh, so we will, sorry, reading and trying to talk. So we will proceed. We're basically here to report two businesses, which are our members, on recovery and resources. And any information that you've been hearing or new updates or questions that are coming in to us that we can maybe get some more information on from all of you. We are going to start with introductions and reporting in no particular order. So we are recording this, so it will be shared via the chamber channels upon completion here. We are following up at 2 o'clock with our chamber general meeting. So again, the panelists are not required to stay on for that, but if you are members, you're welcome to. And we will proceed. So first up, I'm going to ask for our Member of Parliament, Mark Dalton, to give us a report, and we will go from there. Thank you.
Great. Well, thank you, Flory and Chamber, for hosting this event. And it's good to see my political colleagues, at least virtually. You're looking good. I just saw a little note here. We're talking about Elon Musk. Apparently, his mother was Canadian. His father was South African. He was raised up in South Africa. So there you go. But just want to recognize also that we're in the traditional territories of Katzie and Kwantlen First Nations. And I know we're doing this virtually. I'm sure that after 1 year, we very much wish that we had been looking at in this type of event right here, but looking in the rear view mirror, not not still in the midst of things. So it's still very challenging, for all of us, but especially our business community. So I would say that, I mean, a lot of the issues, I know that the province has a mandate on health in many respects, but Canada has a lot to do with that, the federal government. And I think that a lot of the blame can rest, as far as we're at right now, on the federal side of things. We've been very slow off the mark regarding the vaccination procurement, rapid testing. We're currently about 60th in the world right now per capita. Part of the reason for this is that we're negotiating with China, with CanSino, and that's where, as far as procuring vaccinations, and that fell through. And it was several months later before we really started making deals with the different vaccination companies, AstraZeneca and Moderna and others. And we are feeling the consequences right now because all you have to do is look around the world, and you don't have to look very far. Down in the states, I believe the Mariners I believe they're opening up their stadium, the baseball. I think they're having 9,000 people in their stadium. Okay, they'll be playing. We won't talk about the Texas, where they had their opening game with the Toronto Blue Jays. Full, and again, a lot of that has to do with the vaccinations. They're opening up totally to pretty much everybody this month in the United States. So we are very far behind, and that's sad. We are I'm part of the opposition. We are pressing the government, and we've said that we will. The leader has said that we will be doing a full investigation, into what happened during this whole time, and what we can learn going into the future. That doesn't help with today. This morning, I met with different colleagues, and also with Walt Judas. He's the CEO for Tourism Industry Association of British Columbia, and Darren Reeder, who represents Alberta. And the tourism and hospitality sectors, which include restaurants, has been ravaged probably more than any other sector. And it's very tough. Thousands of businesses have closed down, and so many more are just hanging by a thread. And I've spoken on behalf of different organizations, different businesses, including the travel agents, which has really suffered. Very concerned about our cruise industry. That's about $2.8 billion industry in BC right now. There is a lot of political moves to prevent Canada from having to be the stopover or a place of beginning for the cruise ships. I'm I'm the vice chair for the Canada US Parliamentary Associations, and I met with about a couple in a variety of meetings with a couple dozen different congressional representatives, and we discussed that. We discussed a number of different trade aspects with the United States, the border, because 65% of our economy is based upon trade, and 75% of that is with the United States. So that border is really key to so many of our livelihoods, either directly or indirectly. So we're asking the government for a plan of action. We're very concerned. I'm very concerned that we just like what are the markers for opening up? We understand as far as vaccination, as far as herd immunity, all we're hearing is deafening silence. And I think that is really very challenging for many people, saying, well, what is it to be vaccinated? Where do we go from here? Are we going to be in the same place a year from now? And so I think that going forward, we need to have some real markers. I've been in contact with a lot of different businesses locally and also with the nonprofits regarding the Canada Summer Jobs. We really have been advocating for it. I've gone through it myself and hoping to be able to make some announcements on that in the coming month and a half, and we'll let different organizations and businesses know when that happens. We have on April the 19th, the budget will be released. That is the first budget in 30 months, which is the longest ever in Canadian history. And so we'll see what some of the details of that when that comes out. And on April the 28th at 6:30 p.m., I'll be hosting a virtual meeting that everyone's welcome to at 6:30, April 28th, with Member of Parliament Ed Fast. He's the Shadow Minister for Finance. So anyways, I'll stop there and look forward to any questions and pass on the baton. Thank you.
Great, thank you for that, Mark. So we will move on to our MLA for Maple Ridge Pitt Meadows, Lisa Bear, if you would like to present. Thank you.
Thank you, Flory. I really appreciate being given the opportunity to participate in the roundtable today for the Chamber of Commerce, for your members. You very specifically asked us to provide information about supports and grants for businesses and have a conversation with your business community about that. So that's what I'll take my few minutes to do, because we know that this has been a very difficult year for so many businesses. We have, through our Stronger BC Economic Recovery Plan, put in $1.5 billion to provide supports for businesses affected by the COVID-19 pandemic so that they can reopen, so that they can adapt and grow. And so I want to take my couple minutes to touch quickly on two of the newer programs, and Bob's going to be sharing some more on some other programs. But we know, in particular, digital marketing in this day and age can help businesses pivot during the pandemic. So we have a digital marketing boot camp, and now this is a free program for small and medium-sized businesses. So employees of the businesses that are directly impacted by COVID-19 can qualify to have their full tuition covered for an 8-week virtual skills training program that aims to prepare the participants for the digital marketplace. So this is, an intensive program. It's 24 hours a week, daily learning of experiential learning. There's mentorship sessions, marketing experts to help equip you with the knowledge and the tools and the resources that you'll need to thrive as a new marketer in this new COVID online world. So participants who complete the program, they receive a digital marketing bootcamp certificate, and the application process is rolling, so businesses are able to apply at any time. So that's an exciting new program. And the second one that I thought I would highlight, particularly for our area, is the Accelerating Manufacturing Scale Up Grant Program. So this program provides funding to eligible businesses to help them adjust to the changes that COVID-19 has created, to help them prepare for the future. So we're looking for demonstrating or testing of new technologies, commercialization of new technologies or products or services, anything businesses are doing to improve market access or particularly supply chain competitiveness. And anything that's identifying and applying operational improvements or increasing that sustainability to supply chains. So that's an exciting new program. Grants applications open on April 15th. So businesses are more than welcome to contact my office or Bob's office. We can help them walk through both these programs. This program provides up to 75% of a project to a maximum of $250,000, or if there's a group of businesses working together, up to $500,000. Part of that whole program also has up to $400,000 that we're providing to industry and trade associations, or $200,000 to groups of businesses who might be collaborating on a single project. And that is to very much develop and build stronger and more resilient supply chains, which we saw through this past year how important that is to build up within our province. So again, please contact our office. I'll highlight those two programs. You can always go to strongerbc.gov.bc.ca. But we can help you through our offices walk through this, and we're going to continue to listen to our businesses about what they need to navigate through the pandemic. So please reach out anytime and have that conversation. And thanks again, Flory, for the invitation. I look forward to any questions.
Thank you again, Lisa. I appreciate that. There was a couple of things that I thought we would just touch on now, since it's top of mind. The digital marketing program, is that open to not-for-profit business?
Sorry, I muted myself there.
That's okay.
Yeah, I don't know off the top of my head. So I will please get that answer back to you, because I want to make sure I get the right answer for you. But yeah, it's
and
very.
The individual asking the question said she would reach out to your office as well.
Of course, perfect.
And then we'll go into, that was directed to what you were just speaking on. And so for applying for the digital marketing program, that's through your office as well, or is there somewhere online that they can?
Yeah, the application is online, and you can go through that strongerbc.gov.bc.ca website and it has the list of all the programs that are available. But if you need help finding it, please just give us a call and we can send you the direct link.
Okay, and we'll take maybe we have a couple people online here that can look for that now and put it into the chat if we find it.
Perfect. So, yeah, Sunny's online. That would be very helpful. Thank you.
Yeah, strongerbc.gov.bca. .bc.
Yeah.
Okay. So we will move on. Again, thank you, Lisa. And now we will hear from our MLA from Maple Ridge Mission, Bob T. Go ahead.
All right. And thanks to the Chamber for the invite. I'm very much looking forward to the days when we can meet in person. I think that light is hopefully at the end of the tunnel. But before I start, I did want to recognize that I'm speaking to you from the Katzie and Kwantlen First Nations, and would like to recognize the traditional territory. And I have to leave, unfortunately, at 1:45. I apologize to everyone. It was an unavoidable parliamentary secretary conflict. I have to go. So I'm not being rude. It was an impossible conflict. So Lisa will be happy to answer any questions in that last 15 minutes. So thank you for that indulgence. And I also wanted to thank everybody who's on the line, not only as businesses, but as individuals, for everything that you've done in the last year. And I know that we're all tired. I know I'm tired. My family's tired. Your families are tired. One of the biggest challenges we have right now is fatigue with the pandemic. And so really it's a question of doubling up and re-upping what our commitment is to moving forward. And I know we've had to do this circuit breaker for the 3 weeks. And I know that's tough on restaurants in particular and gyms that have bigger classes and yoga and other types of events. But it's so important that, you know, we do this given the numbers and the variants right now. But we're seeing the vaccines roll out, and that's really exciting. And yesterday, the online vaccine program rolled out, and over 250,000 people were able to register, and over 30,000 were able to book their appointments online. So that's ramping up around the province. So that's very exciting news for everyone. So first, I want to thank Lisa for Minister Bear for her comments on those programs. I've been asked to speak about a number of things, but first, I just wanted to touch on an interesting meeting that Minister Bear and I had with TransLink. And it was really interesting because we're all aware that ridership is down because of COVID, and specifically, around the rapid bus. And I was worried because one of the cases we're trying to make for rapid transit in Maple Ridge is by using the rapid bus route to build those numbers to Coquitlam. And so it was actually really nice to hear that, in fact, in that corridor, compared to other regions, we've actually bounced back much better. In fact, we're at about 50% of what we were at pre-pandemic. And so that's actually good news, given the fact that we're trying to build that ridership. So the success of the rapid bus line is really important for showing ridership in that corridor. And so that's good news for all of us. I just thought I'd share that because it was something that I assumed it was down everywhere, but to hear that our transit was actually bouncing back faster than other regions has actually, caught the ear of TransLink. And so that's good. That bodes well for us. So thanks for that. I also wanted to mention that Minister Bear and I have been talking to local companies, especially during this circuit breaker time. Obviously this is impacting different businesses in different ways. And so what we've been doing is sharing what we've been hearing from business owners to the ministers and to government staff, so that they can respond. And a good example of that was the $345 million small and medium sized business recovery grant that was launched in the fall. And so what happened there is, as we know, a lot of the federal programs were very, in a sense, blunt instruments. They wanted to get money out the door. You look at CERB, for example, that just went out to everybody, got the money out the door, but it was very much, a sort of a linear type program. And a lot of the provincial programs have been trying to target and be very specific, and so make sure that the money goes to where the need is. And so that is why the criteria were set up the way they were. And of course, we found that we needed to actually tweak those. So the minister, the minister listened to what people were saying, and so the revenue requirement was dropped. The revenue that you lost had dropped from 50% to 30. And then additionally, the previous 3-year operation requirement was reduced to 18 months. And so these changes have actually allowed many, many more businesses to be eligible. It was also made eligible. We were able to increase the time to apply until August. So that's really good. So it's an ongoing program. If you applied and had issues around eligibility, I would encourage you to go back. And the nice thing is the new changes allow you to have the accountant actually paid to deal with the application, which is really great. So been a lot of changes. And if you can get it, you can get between $10,000 and $30,000 as a grant. And if you're tourist related, you can get a bump up of between $5,000 and $15,000 on top of that. So it's really good. And right now, according to Minister Callan, we've got $115 million out the door and millions of dollars going out every day. So it's really rolling. I'd encourage people to apply. I'm also really pleased to say that the response to the tourism task force, MP Mark Dalton had brought up the issue around tourism. the government listened really carefully to that because tourism is one of the hardest hit sectors. And so we've committed $105 million in reaction to the tourism issues. That's dedicated funding relief for the tourism sector. And in addition, so it's $100 million for the tourism sector and an additional $5 million for Indigenous tourism in BC. So that's a really, really good news for tourism, and because it's such an important part of our economy. Another new program, and this shows sort of the nimbleness. It's really tough. Everyone has to understand. Normally, government programs take 6 months, a year, longer to put out, and these programs are coming fast and furious because we need them now. And a wildly popular program was the relatively new Launch Online grant program, and that provides $7,500 to eligible BC businesses to create an online shop or improve e-commerce. And because it was nearly immediately oversubscribed, the province added another $30 million. So it's actually at $42 million right now. It's been very, very, very well subscribed, and people are using that and companies are using that. And we know that the online models are working. In fact, I won't say which business because they asked me not to, but they've actually seen a boom in sales in Maple Ridge because of switching to an online business model. And so it's important to recognize the innovation and adaptability of our local businesses, and that's really amazing to see. So in all, we put $8.25 billion into the economic recovery plan. And that's the whole point of that, is to get BC out of COVID-19, but not just out of it. We want to be stronger and more resilient. And that means if we're going to spend the money, let's spend it so that things are more equitable, that we can spend money on green, like mass timber building. Now you can build up to 12 stories with mass timber, and that helps not only use our forest industry, but also it's a very green technology. The other thing is reconciliation. So there's so much we can do to build, and then make sure that we've seen the issues that cropped up, that lights were shone on because of COVID-19, that we can actually plug those holes so that we're more resilient moving forward. So yeah, I'm really proud of the fact that we have the most money per capita for businesses and people in provincial funding for COVID recovery. We're committed. And I really, really welcome everyone's questions because I know this is a tough time. So thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Mr. DeEath. We appreciate that. You mentioned on the, which program was it? You said that the accountant could be paid as well. Was that the small and medium recovery grant? Yes, that's correct. So one of the problems at the beginning, one of the issues around it was that accountants were allowed to be part of it. And if it was funded, they would get paid back. But then it's like, well, why should I do that if I'm not going to get paid? And, so it's kind of chicken and egg thing. So when the minister responded to that, say, well, look, let's ensure that the accountant can get paid for doing the application. So that's a given. So that's really helpful because then the work can be done. And it also, makes sure that companies, especially with smaller businesses that may not have the capacity, because that's an issue too. A lot of companies are trying so hard to keep the doors open that they don't have time to deal with things like filling out application forms. So it was just these kinds of little tweaks have made such a big difference to the number of companies that not only are eligible, but the companies that are applying. And I believe that applies to the Launch Online program as well. Because I see a lot of businesses offering to do the application, and then that funding, they get paid that $7,500 or whatever the amount is. So I think that's something to look into as well. I believe I've seen that coming through, that it's businesses will do the application for you for the Launch Online program as well. Right, and like I said, that one's really popular. That one right out of the gate, it was like, oh, that's a good one, because it's immediately oversubscribed. So it was like, okay, so let's divert some money. Let's put some money into that, because obviously that's something that businesses need, and it's good. And those are the sort of that. It's tough for governments to be nimble. They're not designed to be nimble. They're designed to have checks and balances and due diligence and all of these things. And we do need that. But we also need to realize that things are happening every day, and it's changing and changing, as we just saw with the circuit breaker order. Nobody wants these things, but
we have to have them because of the spikes that are happening, and we need to get everyone vaccinated. So it's this race between the spikes and the vaccines. And so Dr. Bonnie Henry and Adrian Dix are always trying to find that space where we can still exist as human beings and businesses, but not have the spikes in transmission. So that's always been the challenge in this entire crisis.
Right. Great. Thank you so much. Okay, so we're going to move on now to our Maple Ridge Mayor, Michael Morton. Go ahead.
Hi, Flory. Thanks for hosting Chamber of Commerce, and welcome to my political colleagues as well, and all the members of the audience that sit here. I unfortunately, at the City of Maple Ridge, we have to keep balanced budgets, and we don't get to have deficit budgets. So I have to, my job as and council members, it's our job to advocate with senior government as best as able to ensure that we can access the various programs that and talk about the needs of people and how to address those. So unfortunately, we only have a few offerings as far as what we do directly to impact business, but most of what our job is to do is a facilitation, to be responsive, to listen to what your concerns are, what your needs are, and then start to go and get you the help that you need. And that goes for everything from businesses to individuals. It's about being responsive and listening. We did have a couple of cool programs that I can tell you about that have been very well received. Our dog-friendly program, so that you can take dogs into business environments. That's was done in collaboration with province work, as well as with the chamber and the BIA as well, in order to be able to bring our furry friends into to retail stores. We understand that for retailers today, I just take my hat off to them for those that are able to manage to continue doing this, given COVID and given all of what the future looks like, and the various well, the roadway ahead is not going to be easy, but the thing is that we have to follow the orders of the provincial government and make sure that we stay hard and firm to those. If we do not do that, we're not coming out the other side easily. It's as simple as that. And we can see what happens when when those directives aren't followed. And British Columbia, thank you, British Columbia has done a pretty amazing job as far as keeping the lid on this and being responsive to what they're seeing. And as eminently Deeth mentioned, government sometimes doesn't respond particularly quickly, but they respond in a sure way based on data. And so that takes time. And also we want to make sure that we keep people safe and we make sure that people don't die. So that's kind of the critical part. And then we look forward to the evolution of the vaccines. And yes, could it have been better? Sure. But you know what? We just try and make the best decisions that we possibly can. And that comes down to the basics. Wash your hands, keep 2 meters apart, socialize outdoors, enjoy the beautiful landscape in Maple Ridge, and I guess Pitt Meadows as well, of course. But you know what? It's not going away anytime soon. So you got to make it work for yourselves, for your loved ones, for the business owners, for everybody that are around you. And we just do that by having a little care and compassion about how we carry on. The City of Maple Ridge hasn't missed a beat. We've continued to operate the entire time because we have to, because there's a lot of demands. And so we continue to do that. The demands, in fact, have become even stronger in certain areas when everybody's home and they're in their home environments working from home. Well, now they think about renovations, and now they want building permits. And more than ever before, our planning department and our building department has been overrun with requests for information and applications for permits. And actually, we just recently initiated a building department review on how we can bring permits to market faster. And the province of British Columbia actually also just approved a grant that's available through the UBCM so that we can review basically everything from application to occupancy services to make sure that we can get houses to market. Because this is really critical, because as cost of materials go up, everything in costs of construction just continually rise. And it's important. We know the one thing that we can really impact that actually is the greatest cost of all delivery of homes is the time it takes to get them to market. I know the province tried this in 2017 and was not able to get this to fully come to what it was that they expected to have happen. And so now this is going to happen again. And we appreciate the money because we were already on this actually, because it's very necessary in our local marketplace as a community that's growing from 90,000 to 130,000 plus. The city is working, your council's working on future development. We're not focused only on the now, we're much focused on what the roadway looks like to the future. MLED also mentioned the transit piece. I do sit on the Transit Mayor's Council, and our city is trying to ensure that we get build a transit-oriented community, and we got the rapid bus, which was great. We just about lost it at the onset of pandemic, and we fought hard to keep that, and we've got it. But now it's about future responsible development around a transit corridor all the way from the Evergreen SkyTrain station all the way to at someday hopefully to Mission. The West Coast Express won't last forever because the track time will be too expensive. Goods movement on rail is federal jurisdiction, and West Coast Express actually is one transportation link that is not fully recovered at all. In fact, it's less than 20% ridership. We're concerned about the cost of its operations. So we always work on plan Bs around the city, and we want to make sure that we've got dedicated bus lanes using electrified fleets to be responsible towards our environment, but also to make sure that we're also developing and signifying to our development community where we want people to build on existing infrastructure. And a small example of that is just a decision made recently, 525 acres in the Lougheed corridor, which is everything from 203rd to downtown between Dudney and Lougheed. And we want all the residential community to come up off the ground from single family and start to densify that entire quadrant. So that's a significant undertaking. It'll evolve over 20 years. It'll have a green corridor down the center, and it will be transit oriented so that when 1 in 4 seniors, that I wish I was proud to be one, but I am one, but love my senior population now that I'm here. But you know what, 1 in 4 people need to have services immediately available to them, everything from doctors to grocery stores to places to enjoy our green space. And we want to come up off the ground because it's important to use our land in a responsible way. So that's our forward look is well in hand, I would say. I will also say too that both the MLAs and our council have been working together on several things to deal with various challenges that we've got in the community with respect to social housing, affordable housing for seniors and families. There's been consultations, they've been really well received, and we're looking forward to the coming chapters on that because frankly, we know that there's a huge need for affordable housing for families, people that are disabled, and those that simply just don't have enough income to make it in a very expensive Metro Vancouver place. So we've all got to do our part, and the province and the city are working together to try and work on what that looks like. And some of the projects, we also look at federal sources through CMHC as well, so that together, you know, we need to make sure that people have got a great way to be and not end up falling through the cracks. And concurrent with all that, our focus is also to really start working on our economy. The economy is not near where it needs to be. There's no greater wake-up call than COVID to say everyone wants to work at home now because they don't want to commute anymore. And sure, I totally agree with that. I'd love to drive 5 minutes to work. Everybody does. It's such a relief on families and on our lifestyle. So if that can be facilitated for people, I think that's a really, really important thing to work on. We have now a new committee that's tasked with exactly that, which is job making for the community, employment, commercial and industrial tax base, facilitation of that. So we're building a framework in order to start delivering on jobs for people at home. So that's really important for us. And so all the land use work has been done, but now we need an overarching economic development plan that's going to deliver employment for people that live in Maple Ridge and I suppose some from Pitt Meadows as well. So with that, I think that's my short report. I'm sorry, I probably went a little bit longer, but my message to the people of in the business community, as well as to my colleagues and anybody else that happens to watch this is, you know, we're not going to get it perfect, but we're there for you. Please reach out and connect with us. There's been chat messages going on. I'm listening to the conversation here, and if there's something that you need from me, email me or phone me or text me and ask me the questions that you need in order to carry on doing what you need to do every day. And that's our job, is to be responsive to your needs. And so that's what I can say to you is please reach out, and we won't catch it all in this meeting, but we will catch it all. And yes, we're absolutely swamped, but we don't miss anything. All of us are doing the best that we possibly can to meet the needs of our community. Thanks, Florrie.
Great, thank you, Mayor Morton. I just want to get a quick thank you into Bob DeEith's office and Mark Dalton's as well. They've been posting some links in the chat. We had an issue as far as it going to panelists and attendees. So if you see any duplication, don't worry about that, but we will post those links into the video when we post it on our YouTube channel as well. So that information coincides with the video. Okay, so I would like to now pass it on to our acting mayor for Pitt Meadows, Bob Meachin. Go ahead.
Thank you, Florrie. I'll just get my speaking notes in front of me. I'll try and keep this brief because I'm conscious of the time for everybody. So good afternoon, and many thanks for this invite to join the chamber today. I'm honored to be here today as Deputy Mayor on behalf of Pitt Meadows City Council. And of course, Bill Dingwall sends his greetings, but was committed to additional meetings today. Without doubt, COVID-19 has challenged and strained our local businesses and on an unprecedented level, and it's resulted in financial hardships. As per Mayor Morton just mentioned, we cannot operate a deficit budget, so we too are acting as advocates and facilitators on behalf of our local businesses. Over the last year, they've had to continually adapt and adjust, often with little notice and without a clear end in sight. They've had to protect not only the safety and health of their staff and customers, but also their very livelihoods. Businesses have faced less foot traffic and limited capacity. Changing rules and regulations and increased spending on cleaning supplies, physical distancing barriers, demands for curbside pickup, takeout, and online ordering have shifted how they must operate. We all know this. Over a year later, businesses continue to need our support, especially with BC's latest restrictions. From the outset, our city councillors worked hard to create new programs and policies to support our local businesses so that they can survive and recover from these ongoing challenges. In March last year, when provincial restrictions began, the city rapidly mobilized to found what we call the Community Check-in Task Force and the Economic Resiliency Task Force to ensure Pitt Meadows residents and businesses would have the support needed specific to our community's needs. The Economic Resiliency Task Force, of which I was a liaison, was comprised of council and Chamber of Commerce members and key representatives from various sectors. Its focus was to determine what economic supports were already available and identify opportunities for further stimulus. And that was us acting as advocates and facilitators. A web page was created to collect and share information about the resources and programs available to the community from the various levels of government. Outcomes from the task force included a local business and services listing and a shop local campaign with weekly promotions of Pitt Meadows businesses to encourage residents to support their favorite shops and restaurants. We had strong support for our programs and campaigns from both businesses and our residents who sought to sustain them. In terms of city economic actions, last summer, Council also approved temporary patio outdoor retail space bylaw to help businesses provide extra distancing for customers and to expand their outdoor capacity. We have seen a number of businesses in Pitt Meadows take advantage of this, and we've extended it to the end of October this year as a result. In order to ease the financial burden of COVID-19, the city launched a one-time grant for residential taxpayers while also delaying the property tax penalty date by several months. Throughout the pandemic, as restrictions have changed, the city has focused on providing centralized information on our website for both residents and businesses, including facility and program status and the protocols in place at city buildings. Council has been adaptive to local business needs in terms of which resources are working and which need refining, and how important information can be shared within our community. The task force created in response to COVID-19 had such a positive impact that Council decided to transition them into a new permanent committee, including approving the establishment of, similar to Mayor Morton's, an Economic Development and Tourism Advisory Committee to continue the support of the health and resilience of local businesses. So we are hopeful and confident that our local businesses can continue to weather this storm with the help of economic supports, innovative policies, and the ongoing support of the entire community. I've been looking forward to this meeting to learn today what else Pitt Meadows can do to help local businesses. One off-the-cuff remark I'll make is last week we had an EPC meeting, and this was to discuss the fact that Golden Ears Business Park phases 3 and 4 and now going ahead quite strongly. Phase 3 has got its development permit. We expect the first buildings to be there summer of next year. Phase 4, we just did the EPC to let folks know what the development will look like. And as I was quoted in the news today, it's a massive improvement over what we were left with from previous years in terms of design and form and fit and so forth. Phase 4 will be one building. It's a giant building, but we're doing everything we can to include a lot more enhancements to that building, landscaping, etc. So when I look forward, and I know my colleagues on council, when they look forward, we know employment on our doorstep is going to be greatly enhanced. And I'm sure Maple Ridge residents will take advantage of the fact there are likely to be hundreds of new jobs within phase 3 and phase 4 of Golden Ears Business Park. And also phase 2, I think, is now fully leased. These are massive employment opportunities in such a small town as Pitt Meadows. We're still relatively small, less than 20,000 citizens, but we're small and mighty and very proud to be Pitt Meadows. And thank you for the opportunity. I hope you don't mind. I did read from my notes because I tend to waffle on a bit. And I think that's it for me. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Bob. I appreciate that. And don't worry, I completely support using notes. Otherwise, I get completely sidetracked as well. Okay, so we're going to open it up for questions. So I'm going to go back to a few that were put in here while the presentations were happening, and we'll start with there. So if you have a question, you can either raise your hand or put it into the chat feature. We have a few minutes left here that we can address those. So I will start with, I believe this question is for to Mark or possibly Lisa as well, maybe can answer to this. It's with the length of this pandemic going, you would think there would be enough stats knowing where the outbreaks are happening, etc. Why do the mass lockdowns keep happening? I don't know if this is more of a public health order
Yeah,
question.
Just to I'll chime in here for a bit, and maybe Lisa might want to add some comments, but I'm sure the other other representatives here also hear from lots of people, as I do, and strong opinions in one way and strong opinions in the other way, and it's like, and everyone's right. So it's really hard to chat. I understand some of the frustration because some of the health directives have changed from a year ago to now, but I think it's really important, that we follow the health directives, and it's that's key. So and while I'm speaking, because I think our time is limited, I'll just throw in a couple more things, and that will be that with the budget, the federal budget coming out on the 19th, people can go to my website shortly thereafter, markdaltonmp.com, for changes, additions to the different programs that are available, like currently have the Canada Recovery Benefit, the CEWS, CERS, HASCAP, CEBA, all these different programs. There may be changes, tweaks, extensions. Check out my website shortly after the budget, and there'll be more information.
Great, thank you. Lisa, did you want to add anything to that question?
Thank you. I know it's been hard for everyone here in BC. We were doing so well, and then our numbers have continued to increase in the last little while. But we continue to follow the advice of our public health officers, and as a government, we've been respecting that advice. And so, it's very clear that this virus has no borders, no boundaries. It just because it's in one community doesn't mean it's not going to very quickly travel to the next, or even a far-flung community, as we're seeing travel restrictions and recommendations not fully be respected. And so it's what we have to continue to trust our public health authorities and the scientists, and we're all going to come through the other side of this, and we're going to try and all come through stronger. So thank you so much for the question. We know it's frustrating, but we'll make it through this together.
Great, thank you, Lisa. Another question here is, are there any stats on the Ridge Meadows businesses and the uptake on the various grants and funding available? Who would be able to see that information coming through on who's accessing the grants? Is there anywhere to find a report on that?
I don't have one offhand, no. That's something I can certainly request, but there are so many grants. I have a backup document here to kind of help me, and it's 57 pages long on all the grants that are available, and what we can help with here at the province. And I'm sure on the federal level, it's the same. There are just dozens and dozens of programs that are available. So my recommendation is, if you have a business, or you are a business, or someone who needs help, please reach out to my office, to our MP's office, and we can help guide you and direct you into one of those programs. So we'll find something that can help fit your needs. And I don't know if Mark wants to add more to that, but please reach out, and we'll do the best we can to find something that fits you.
Yeah, I agree with that, and I just want to add that sometimes we'll get questions that might be more to the towards the city or towards the MLAs, but there's a collaboration between our offices, and so we'll work together because sometimes you can get into the silos. But you're right, as far as having it all in one place, it's not all in one place, but that information is important. Maybe Flory, you have it all in one place.
We do have a resource page, so yeah. I was going to mention that we can be found. That's and great. We are all working together with that information that keeps coming through, and trying to amalgamate that and keep it all top of mind, and as in a timely manner as far as updates come in. So we do have our resource page on our website as well. Yeah,
and I will say that every email that we receive, okay, there's an automatic reply that does indicate the supports both provincial and federal. So that's there, and on the issue of my office, we've been open the entire time and there to serve our constituents, people in Pitt Meadows and in Maple Ridge, with whatever the needs are.
Great, thank you. Were there any more questions coming in? I don't see any hands raised. We've got one hand raised. Mayor Morton, go ahead. No, you're on mute. You'd have to unmute. There we go.
I clicked away. Just wanted to build a little bit on what Minister Bear and MP Dalton were saying. With respect to these grants, there are a lot of opportunities out there, and basically it's a role of facilitation. Probably the busiest department in our city actually has been the IT department. So we do have a COVID portal, if you will, and it's on the landing page of the city, and that's where we take all this information that we receive from the federal government, from the provincial government, from the chamber, everybody that, and we put it in a central place, and they're maintaining it. We're just simply a way for you to find it all. So if it's current healthcare data, if it's how to get your vaccinations. All of that's posted on our COVID website from top to bottom. We even have now a digital assistant on there that you can ask them the question, and they're in learning process. They're an AI bot that is now learning about what it is that people need. And there's data being gathered from it too, of course, to make sure that we're being responsive. I will say that, in the darkness of COVID, possibly, we'll say that there's been tremendous learnings. There's been some amazing innovation that I've seen. All of us have seen it. And we want to foster that. And I can tell you a lot of our policies and business, everything sometimes goes out the window here when something this critical comes along. And so you've got an innovative idea, you've got something that's just really cool, but it just simply doesn't fit in the current molds. It's time to have a look at it and let's see what you've got. So connect with us and see what opportunity looks like. We're trying to do an entire different way of doing business in our city. We want people to live at home. We've always actually wanted that, but it's never really been facilitated well. Now it's just simply gone to the critical list. It's the 911 time and it's the paddles, and people want to work from home. And, all of us want to see that to be a top priority. Never before have you heard so many people using regional and community parks and provincial parks. They're overrun. That's half of the works now. The parks departments is going around cleaning up after just the general activities within these landscapes. So we're on the radar for that. So I think that getting 2 hours into everybody's day was really great, because the bridge traffic over the Golden Ears is already at 90-something% use. So we want to slow that all down, get people working from home, and we're trying to do our part there on that transportation corridor piece. So innovators, please step forward. Don't be afraid because you hear the words no. Come to your political communicators and let's see what you got, and let's see how we can make it work. And that's what we do. Is we're facilitators. We're there to connect people to the help they need. And if we don't have the answers, we're there to find them for you. And that's what I do every day for very long days. And I know my colleagues also do the same. So thanks. I also have to go shortly, so I want to be mindful of the time. But that's the key here: is connect with us, talk to us, and ask us what it is that you need, that you're having difficulties with, because everybody's got their own stuff that they're trying to work through.
Thank you. Okay, so we've got, it looks just a few minutes left here. So if there was any closing comments from our panelists, there's no more questions I see here or hands raised. So we will move on, as Mayor Morton mentioned, for being respectful of the time. We will start with Bob. Did you have anything, quick closing comment to say? Bob Meechan?
Just briefly, thanks for the invite to the meeting. It's been informative, and I've made copious notes to take back to council. And I just noticed it popped up on my email. I get my vaccination pretty soon as a 70-year-old senior person. So things are looking up, I guess. Yeah. Anyway, all the best to everybody. Stay safe. And it was nice meeting with you all today.
Thank you. We appreciate your time. Mayor Morton?
Yeah, just I see that this is probably there's about 20 or so people in the room here, but this will be broadcast and posted, I'm sure. So if there's thoughts after the fact, please connect with us. I will say one thing as well that has occurred since COVID as well. Our connectivity as a community at all levels has never been greater. I have never talked to so many people, especially my colleagues in government, because that's frankly how we need to get stuff done. We're talking texts, phone calls, get it done now, yesterday, please. And that's how we're having to operate here. And you know what? I've had unbelievable access to ministers, to at every level of government. It's been a real pleasure as far as that's concerned, because this is what we've got to do. We've got to be very responsive. And yes, there's process to follow, but you know what? This is truly a call to action for political leaders to step into the breach and really start looking after people's needs. And for the most part, there's no politics in this. It's about getting things done that people need today, every day, just to survive. So I have to say that I really give credit actually to all anybody that's in elected right now, because I'm seeing it everywhere. So, and thanks, Flory, also for yourself and, what the chamber does. I connect with President Hogarth as well on a regular basis. This is what we do. I noticed that Don Mitchell's online here as well. You know, there's another guy we talk to periodically, you know, looking after all the seniors community. There's many out there doing their thing every day. And so you need something, call. Thanks, Florrie. Thanks,
Great.
colleagues.
Thank you. Appreciate your time as well. Mark Dalton, anything in closing?
Well, no, just thank you to you, Chamber again for hosting this, and to the many service organizations that are still busy, that are, you know, would be the food bank or so many others. I see that Laura Butler is here, and just many others are doing what they can to support our community. So thank you to that. And again, we're here to be assistance. I'm here to be a voice and assistance to those that are facing challenges, to look at what are some ways to help and to move forward. So that's important. I need to hear from you in order to represent you. And I've been talking to hundreds of people on the phone, emails, a lot of connections. I don't just piggyback on what Mike Morton said as far as being able to have, you know, these virtual events, there's some downsides to it, but some positive signs that you can get a lot more as far as face-to-face and connecting and having conversations with people. So anyways, looking forward to brighter days ahead.
Thank you. And Lisa?
And just a big thank you to the business community here in Maple Ridge and Pitt Meadows for everything they've done and all the sacrifices they've made to keep us all safe. So thank you, Florrie.
Great. Well, again, we thank all of you for your time. I know we are all exhausted from the online meetings, but we are here to do what we can to support our communities first, and you know, that is our main goal. So again, thank you. We are going to move into our general meeting. So for the panelists that don't need to stay on, you are free to leave. We will take like a quick 5-minute break before we go into our general meeting. So again, thank you, panelists. Take care. Be well.
Yeah, thanks, Florrie.
Thanks, Michael.